I thought I knew there was everything to know about Rocky. I knew nothing. I have met great-grandmamas, grandmamas, mothers, children, grandchildren, all dressed as Magenta, wanting my
Wow.
autograph. It's
Beautiful.
really, truly extraordinary.
So you're very famous for Robert Stevens.
He had a pair of spectacles like that he was playing with, like overlooking and saying hello. I thought I'd cut the crap. And I was a happily married woman with a 5-year-old boy.
No.
Oh,
Naughty, no. Welcome to Cats and Other Celebrities, the podcast, which is weekly. And today we have the marvellous Pat Quinn. Marvellous with us. But she doesn't have a cat. In fact, she doesn't even enjoy animals. But she is
How
gorgeous.
do you know that?
She told me.
Oh, you sneak.
So Patricia is Belfast born, but perhaps most renowned for Magenta and the Rocky Horror. I know her through that, but she's done some amazing roles, which I also know, and she's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you talking about me?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Look at this jacket. Oh, gorgeous.
I was worried you might mention that because people will throw stones at me now, won't they?
Well, you're not wearing a fur coat, so no, they won't.
Oh, I do.
I do too. Mm.
It's not made of cat.
It's not. It's made of fox or minx or something. I don't know.
Oh, don't tell anyone. Mine's made of red squirrel.
Oh, God.
It's their necks.
Oh.
No, it was all those years ago. I bought
Well,
it
they're
in
long dead anyway.
in South Moulton Street when one could buy fur. Do you understand? It wasn't incorrect at the time.
Did you get red stuff thrown on you now? But not for disliking animals or liking them, but not having them.
No, but I saw fox furs and things come back. I'm walking down St. John's Wood High Street and they're in the shop, fox furs. And I think, what the hell's happened now?
Oh,
That's a year or two ago.
They're definitely back because they're banned.
I was just coming to your studio and my darling friend here met me in the street, your friend. And suddenly these people stopped us and said, do you mind if we take your photograph?
Marvellous.
Now, that happens to me in the streets of America, but not London. So what's happened?
You're wearing that jacket.
I know.
But you wear that jacket, that's for Magenta Goes to America, is it?
Well, yes, but not. I bought it for Pat Quinn. You know, she wears it.
She wears it too.
But Magenta character wears it on tour. And I wear it all the time because everyone says, oh, love your... Everyone comments on this. And I have a million jackets. And my American producer said, Pat, would you... I could fly you to LA and we can go clothes shopping. And
What
I
a
said,
bore, you said.
no. I said, what for? What do you mean? And he said, well, you know, because you always wear the same jacket. So he thought the audience would think I was a very poor person and could only afford one jacket. I said, don't be daft. I wear it because it's the best jacket in town. So I wear it for every show I do, you know. And he thought, you know, the repetitive thing of that was too much. He thought I'd no other clothes.
Oh, no.
I said I could come in my nightie.
Not very Magenta.
Oh, no?
No.
Does she not go to bed?
In lingerie.
Does she go to bed in her maid's outfit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think so. you've been touring America with Magenta. Has that been fun?
No, it's been beyond belief, not fun, beyond belief. Because what has happened, I've done a million Comic Cons. I have met grandmamas, may I even say great grandmamas, mothers, children, grandchildren, all dressed as Magenta, wanting my
Wow.
autograph. It's really,
Beautiful.
truly extraordinary at Comic Cons. So I've done those all across the States and in England. But then this guy, Scott Standard, he's a producer in LA, and he got in touch with me and said, I wonder if you would do these 15 states and visit these theaters. In other words, so I thought it was going to be little Rocky Horror cinemas on every corner of the States. But he said, cinemas? He said, no. Here we are in Detroit, here we are in Chicago, and you're doing this 3,000, 4,000 seater, this one, and this one.
Wow.
And the title is
This is amazing.
unbelievable. And the title is Q&A with Patricia Quinn. That's the name of the show. That's all it is. And I thought, this isn't going to work. I go in, sold out every night. Unbelievable. And the other astonishing thing is, they don't clap when I come on. They stand up and scream. And it's like, oh, and I literally, what I do is, first of all, a boy warms up the audience, Rocky Horror chit-chat. Then a fancy dress competition for the audience, dressing up.
Oh, they've all come as their
They all
favorite Rocky
dress,
Horror
yeah.
person.
Yeah,
How many yous?
I don't count them. And then Patricia Quinn, who does Q&A for 20 minutes. I'm back home in the hotel at 9 o'clock. Then they show the movie with the shadow casts. And that's the evening. I thought, this is the cushiest job I've ever had. But it isn't in that it's one day plane, next day theatre, one day plane, next day theatre. So at first I thought, this is killing me, I'm exhausted. When I first saw the 15 states, I said to the producer, how far is the car journey from that state to that state? He said, car, plane, Pat, this is America. I said, oh. Anyway, so here I am doing the whole of America. And sometimes I'm in states in America like that don't even have a coffee bar in the street. And it's like tumbleweed is blowing down the road.
Oh my God, really old-fashioned, old
Nothing
school,
there.
except you.
And a theatre. And it's sold out in these tumbleweed towns. So I can't. This is beyond belief. I thought I knew there was everything to know about Rocky. I knew nothing. The following of this is, and this is the 53rd year. It's beyond belief.
I can understand why people would come to the King's Road to see it, or London, or wherever. But I'm bamboozled with all these American states. So what were the American states?
Everyone there is.
Everyone.
And so there's 25 states. And I thought, if we do, this was now my third show, 15 states a show. And I said to him, we're going to run out of states. He said, Pat, every state has cities. I said, oh. So there's a million cities in every state, you see. So it's beyond extraordinary. You know, and Little Nell is doing it now. Barry Boswick is doing it. I'm doing it. And then every so often we meet up as a threesome. And I mean on stage. And, you know, it's stunning, you know. And I have never made a penny out of Rocky Horror. It's the longest running film in cinema history. It's the top grossing film in cinema history, and we haven't made a bean. We
But
did
yet
it
you've
for
dedicated your
nothing.
life to it.
Pardon?
You've dedicated your life to this.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
Not intentionally. You know, I began in 1973 in a 60-seat room upstairs at the Royal Court Theatre. It was a room, there was no set, there was no money for anything. Jim Sharman, the director, and he's the brains behind all of it, apart from Richard O'Brien, but Jim Sharman is the most amazing ever. And so he employed Tim Curry, all of us, and all unheard of sort of at the time. I'd done a few things.
You were perhaps the most famous.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really fame at the time. And anyway, so the point was there's a 60-seat room, no stage, just a flat floor and wooden chairs. And within the second week, I'm coming up the stairs, and there's Mick Jagger standing with Bianca, who used to wear a white suit and cane at the time. She had this outfit that she always wore. And they're standing waiting on the stairs to get in. I walked by nonchalantly, not knowing who they were, and went up the stairs. And I went into the room and said to everyone, we only had an office for a dressing room. We didn't have dressing rooms. We were all in the same room. And I said, Jagger's in. And it was wonderful. And then I rushed downstairs to get changed because I was a little demure in those days, and I still am. And so I was changing my stockings and underwear and everything. And someone was in the shower. And they were making this noise. They were going, oh. I said, who's that? He said, oh, it's Raina, Pat. I said, what's the matter? He said, I've got glitter under my foreskin and I can't
Ew.
walk.
Ew.
And he was Rocky. And I thought, oh. Because we had glitter. I used to throw it as the usherette. And glitter in those days was like little chips of glass. It used to prickle me at night in bed because it was all over me. And I was I was living with my husband at the time, Robert Stevens. It wasn't a cozy bed, I can assure you.
No.
Anyway, so there's Raina, and I go upstairs, and little Nell's sitting there saying to Jim Sharman and everyone, I'll play Rocky, I'll play Rocky. And I thought, yeah, you can't wait to show your nipples again. And Jim Sharman said, show cancelled. And I thought, oh, great, we can go home. Don't have to do it. But I was the only one. So that was our days upstairs at the court. And then 2 years later, they got in touch and said, we want to make a film. And one thought, what? It's extraordinary. Well, then it turned out that 20th Century Fox, I was coming up with money for it, and Jagger wanted to play Frank, Bowie wanted to, they all wanted to play it. And Jim Sharman said, I'm not having anyone except my original cast, which is of Tim Curry and the rest of them. So 20th Century gave him tuppence halfpenny to make it because there were no names. At the time, we weren't names.
So you shared the tuppence halfpenny?
Yeah, 300 a week if it was that. That was my wages. And we had to do it in the shortest time. We made that musical in, I think, 6 weeks, which is unheard of to make a musical. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And all there is, what was his name? The photographer. Oh, all his books have just come out. He's an amazing photographer. He photographed Bowie and everyone. I remember. And all he did was take photos. I've got great photos. All you could ever see was us sound asleep on the floor of the set, because we know we were worked stupid, day and
Stupidly,
night.
no sleep, no beds, no hotels, no
No,
nothing.
so he's taken this amazing photo of me with I had that hair at the time, and I'm the maid, and she's out for the count. And then we've got one of Nell and I on the throne, and Richard O'Brien sound asleep, and Nell's got her foot on him. We're just asleep all over the set. It was unbelievable, beyond belief.
So he captured you sleeping because that's all you did, sleep.
Well, in between shots, yeah.
Sounds heavy.
Yeah, and people ask about did you have great fun, or did things happen? You thought, no, dear, we just worked ourselves silly.
But I can't believe that you worked tirelessly on that film and on the stage show and on the tour and never made any money. That's appalling.
No, this is the first time I made money. I'm doing this American tour, and at last I'm making a bit of money. It's great.
Do you live with your son, Quinn?
No. Quinn's married. I have 3 grandsons.
Oh.
Yeah, Charlie's 21, my eldest.
Oh.
He's just finished at Camberwell College of Art, where he's, come out as a sculptor. He's a sculptor now.
Nice. Yeah. So the artistic feeling runs in the family.
Well, that's with him. Yeah, that's lovely, because I recognize it in him. Because when I was a girl, I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland. I was born in Belfast. And at the age of 17, I knew I had to be an actress. And I'd worked at the Arts Theatre in Belfast and done plays at school and blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, and I lost my job at the Arts Theatre because I had bronchitis. My mother said, they rang up and said, when's Pat coming in? Salad Days was our next show. And my mother said, oh, no, this wee girl won't be in for at least 3 weeks, not understanding the theatre.
Show must go on.
You
can't be off, no.
Yeah. So she lost me my job, sort of thing. And then I went and then I met all the actors, and they all went and said, oh, poor Pat, you've lost your job. And they all actors. And I said, oh, I don't mind. I'm going to London. I wasn't. I just
said that you were.
So I got on the boat to London, the boat to Heysham in London, with a fiver in my pocket and hope, full of because I could have gone to America. There's other boats to America from Northern Ireland. And but I wasn't interested in films or anything. I just wanted to be on the stage. That was my thing. So it was all London. To do with the theatre.
Yes.
And so I get to London and move into a youth hostel. And then I find a bed sit in the Caledonian Road. And that was then. I mean, the Caledonian Road was the end of the world, And then I got a job as an usherette in the theatres, so I could watch all the plays and see what they were doing, So, it's so hilarious that I ended up as an usherette in Rocky Horror, because I opened Rocky Horror with my ice cream tray. Then I was an usherette at the Notting Hill Gate Classic.
You
selling
were a
ice
real
creams.
usherette.
Yes,
selling
so I
real
didn't
ice
need to
creams.
rehearse anything for it
No.
because I knew how to be one. But it was just hilarious that I was a real usherette.
Well, when I was 17, I left Newcastle, which is not like Belfast, but I wanted to be an actress so
Wow!
badly. But then I couldn't do any auditions. I couldn't compete with people.
Why?
So I didn't audition.
Yeah.
No. So I would just had my various friends and I'd live off them, selling to Bass Blamming Boy, tittle tattle of who was doing what. But that was how I arrived in London.
Oh, goodness, imagine that.
But I thought you knew that.
No, I didn't. Well, I don't remember if I did.
Well,
Yeah.
Anyway. So 17, a magic age for leaving.
Yeah, and I did. And I got work. I got an agent in Soho. We're in Soho now. And he got me bits and pieces. And then I was doing things like the Bill and Z cars. And I did work, got work. It's
Nice.
great.
I think you've always had this can-do attitude. Always.
I didn't know I do it.
Yeah. Very positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I recognize that in Charlie, my grandson, because I can see a passion, and he's got it, that passion. I had it. So I recognize it.
So he's the sculpting one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard path.
Yeah. And what do the other ones do?
Well, they haven't left school yet.
Oh, so it's only Charlie that's embracing who he is, who you are, who everybody Quinn is.
And it's amazing because he lives near Camberwell, and I came past his street, and it was John Ruskin Avenue, and Ruskin was one of the pre-Raphaelites. And I did a series on telly with Ben Kingsley called The Love School, where we played the pre-Raphaelites. I played Lizzie Siddle because the reason I got the part was I looked like Lizzie Siddle. You had to look like, because he paints me. And then I had the long curly hair, but it was
very
dark.
Pre-Raphaelite.
But then the BBC said, will you dye your hair, like golden red? And I thought, I've never dyed my hair. I thought, no. I'd never thought of such a thing. But I did for the part. And I never went back to dark hair.
Ever?
No.
I don't even know what my natural colour is.
No, well, thank God we don't.
No, we don't. No. When I mentioned Quinn, your son, you were, oh, no, I don't live with him. No. But later on, you mentioned he made you coffee.
Did I? Well, he comes round. Quinn's a barrister, and he's at the moment living in Somerset. So he comes up and down to London to barrister law.
To do barrister.
Yeah, and he occasionally stays with me, which is lovely.
Okay.
It's great to have him.
So he is your I can't imagine you with a child.
Really?
No.
He's the only one.
Only one.
I only wanted one. It was enough.
It was enough.
Yeah.
So that one was your only one with your first husband?
Yeah, Don Hawkins. Don and I were like living in Gunter Grove. This is the late 60s, 70s, right? And the Gunter Grove, and that's World's End. And on the corner was Granny Takes a Trip, where we bought all our clothes. And next door, Vivienne Westwood opened after that, her shop Sex. And so it was the place to be in those times, 68, 69. And the King's Road was heaven on earth at that time. Like, we were the beautiful people. All the men were in velvet flared trousers. They were all in Granny Takes a Trip shirts with wonderful wedged collars, and we all looked stunning. We were stunning, and there wasn't anyone who wasn't on the King's Road. So Jagger was there, Rod Stewart. I remember Terence Stamp was walking by, and I was on top
He
of
was
a
particularly
bus.
beautiful, I feel.
This is the point. I was on top of the bus and saw him, and I've never done this in my life. I ran down the stairs of the bus because he was so gorgeous to follow him. I followed Terence Stamp down the
Wow.
road because
And where
he
did he
was so
go?
gorgeous. He went to, there was a restaurant then that I've forgotten the name of it. L'escargot. No, not L'escargot. That's so long ago. He went to a restaurant that everyone used to go to, everyone who was anyone.
Mm. Nice.
But you talking about him being gorgeous, so yes, and
He
I
was
ran down
gorgeous.
the
Yeah.
bloody bus to walk after him to look at him.
Ooh.
No.
Well, that is special.
Yeah, it was. And I met him years later at a gig, and he's much older, so one does get older. And
but still had it, I feel.
mm,
Great eyes.
slightly, well, I'd like to say yes, but
Not
not so
running
much.
down a bus stairs.
Well,
but
I wasn't running down the stairs, wasn't running up to the microphone to stroke his cheek, you know.
No. No. So you're very famous for Robert Stevens. When did you actually meet?
Oh, we met. Actually, I used to go to the National Theatre when I was like 17-year-old, and I used to buy seats in the Gods, you know, because I couldn't afford a ticket, you know, so I was in the Gods. And I went, especially like the world went, to see Robert Stevens in The Royal Hunt of the Sun, where he played the Inca god Atahualpa. And he was the talk of the world with this part. You know, it was beyond belief performance. So I witnessed that, you know, it was fantastic. I was watching a bit of it the other day. It was amazing. Because he sings a song in it about a little bird, and it was like a performance beyond belief. It was extraordinary.
So was that what had you hooked, his talent?
No. I had nothing to do with that. I mean, no. I mean, I didn't fancy him or anything. And
Well, you're okay too, but no, you didn't.
well, I wasn't thinking about that, no. And he's just an actor on the stage. And the whole thing was he began at the Royal Court Theatre with John Osborne and blah, blah, blah. And then Olivier knew him from there and asked him to join him at the National. And Robert always insisted Olivier was the greatest actor in the world. He was completely in awe of his work and loved working with him. And then Maggie Smith was in the company and blah, blah, blah. I think his then wife, maybe. So I saw many plays there. And then what had I done? I'd finished the film of Rocky Horror, and Chalky White, Michael White, produced the stage show of Rocky Horror. Michael White turned up in my life quite a lot. I really liked him. And suddenly they're doing a play called Murderer for the West End by Tony Schaffer, Peter Schaffer's brother. And Tony Schaffer had written Sleuth, so that had been an amazing success. So he wrote a play called Murderer. So they asked me to audition, and every girl in London had auditioned for this play, and I knew most of them, you know. And none of them got the part. And they were down to the last 4 girls in London to audition. And I was one of them. So I had to go to the stage door of this theatre to audition with the great not Sir then, the great Robert Stevens. And I thought, oh yeah, okay. So I'm queuing at the stage door, 4 of us. So I go on stage and it's freezing. It's Christmas week. At the weekend was Christmas Day. And I've just finished the Rocky Horror film, and I've got this magenta hair to here, long. And I've got a raccoon fur coat from here to my feet. So I'm like a big raccoon with the hair. So I go on stage, and I'd read this script for Murderer, and I thought, this is no good, this play. And I was a very fussy girl. If the script was no good, doing it, don't care who's doing it. And I thought it's no good. And I wasn't going for the audition. I wasn't going to go. And my au pair, I'm doing the dishes in the kitchen. That's how clever I am about having an au pair. And she's sitting reading my script at the breakfast table. And she's laughing. And I'm doing the dishes. And I turn around and say, what are you laughing at? What is it? She said, she was American. Oh, this is really funny. I said, what is? What? Show me. So I said, oh, you think that's funny? She said, yeah, and this bit is really good. I said, I'm going to the audition. Okay, got on my coat and ran out the door because of her.
So she saw in it things that...
I didn't.
Yeah.
But I was right. She was wrong. Anyway.
Of course.
And so
Always.
I went to the audition, and Robert Stevens was doing Mr. Actor Rubbish with, we were called juvenile leads then, you know what I mean? That was the name.
Yeah.
And so he was doing with young actress, Carry On. So he had a pair of spectacles like that he was playing with, like overlooking and saying hello. And I said, I cut the crap, I mean, it was all, I didn't take to him at all. And so he read with me, and I couldn't get any enthusiasm to read. I didn't read well. I've never done that before. And the director said, thank you, which means leave the stage. Wow. That had never happened to me in my life. Wow. And that's a disgrace. That's shaming, okay? So, in other words, thank you, you're no good, go home.
That is horrible, but you got the part anyway.
Yeah, but Chalky White was the producer. So Chalky White's with them, the director, and Stevens and all. And he said, well, I think, that's Patricia Quinn, and she's actually very talented actress. And Robert said, why do you keep pushing that girl? What is it? He said, you couldn't even see the creature.
She called you a creature?
Yeah. And,
wow.
Chalky said, well, I don't know. Have you ever seen the Rocky Horror Show, the stage? And Robert said, yes, actually, I have. Because he had a friend who was a gay dresser, his personal dresser. And he said to Robert, if you don't go to the Rocky Horror Show on the King's Road, I will never speak to you again.
So he went.
So he went, and he went with Genevieve Page, who was doing a film with some film actress. And he saw it. So he says to Chalky White, why do you keep pushing her? And he said, did you ever see it? He said, yeah, why? He said, well, she played Magenta on the usherette. He said, give her the part.
Whoa!
So Madam got the part. And then my agent phoned half an hour later, said, you've got the part. I said, "Oh, okay, but I'm not doing it unless I have my name in lights." And my agent said, "Sorry, Pat, just a minute, the West End, like the main character and maybe the leading lady, but not." I said, "Then I won't do it."
Because you didn't want to
Came
anyway, perhaps.
I didn't want the part. And, because I knew it was no good. And, he came back and he said, "You've got your name in lights, Pat."
Oh,
So there we
wow.
were. And so Robert Stevens, being Robert Stevens, a very naughty fellow, um, seduced Patricia. And I was a
No.
happily married woman with a 5-year-old boy, Quinn.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
Naughty, no, no.
but he was a little irresistible. We were together 22 years after that.
Mm.
Mhm.
I knew you were.
And the play wasn't any good. It didn't really last. Didn't run very long.
But that just goes to show his performance ability outside the acting role. His celebritude was greater than his talent in that instance because he made all the demands.
What demands?
He made demands of you, of the show, of everything.
He didn't make demands of me.
Oh,
I
he
was
didn't.
quite willing.
Oh, you're willing. Oh, that's even.
I didn't do anything against my will.
Mm.
No, I fell in love with him.
And you remained in love with him
Yeah, forever.
forever and ever. You're still in love with him.
Sadly, he died. I mean, he dared to die at the age of 63.
But why did he die? What happened to him?
Well, different things.
He had complications. So, but you married before he died.
Oh, yeah, this happened. Actually, I've got the letter in my handbag because I went to the library to have it printed. At his memorial service, Prince Charles, now Mr. King, wrote a letter for me to read out at his memorial service because
Nice.
Charlie Boy couldn't come at the time. First of all, he became a great friend of Robert's. And we were often invited to Sandringham and
Well,
things.
King Charles Spaniel did.
What?
King Charles Spaniel.
King Charles?
Spaniel. Prince Charles.
He was Prince Charles at the time. Then
And now
he became
he's
the
king. But I just call him King Charles Spaniel.
Why?
So I remember it.
Sorry?
So I remember it. Him. Anyway.
Don't understand. Charles saw Robert in Henry IV Part 1 and 2, where he played Falstaff, and King Lear. They were the last two performances of his life, the last year of his life at Stratford. And, often Robert played things that weren't quite to my liking. I could often criticize and say, don't do that and don't do that. Anyway, but his Lear was beyond belief brilliant. The man, as Lear, was phenomenal. And he was the talk of, like they called him Lazarus, that he'd risen from the grave,
Judith Lear.
Charles got him a knighthood. He said to his mummy, late Mrs. Queen, knight that man as for being a great actor.
Oh, marvelous.
So we went to the knighthood, and the sword comes down, and he at the time he was when he was offered the knighthood, He was in a convalescent home, Robert, right? And I had been on tour, and I was coming home from Sheffield like at 3 in the morning, and the girl who did my makeup was driving me home. And I get home and a week's letters, and I go through the letters and I thought, what is that? A tax letter? Prime Minister, would Robert Stevens accept a knighthood? And I thought, oh, you know, and I did know from before, someone told me, if you leak knighthoods before you get them, you don't get it. So you
Oh.
don't tell anyone.
Oh.
So Robert was in a convalescent home at 3 in the morning. I couldn't ring him. I had to tell somebody.
So who?
So I rang my makeup girl who drove me home, Natalie, and said, Natalie, Robert's been offered a knighthood. Well, she didn't even know Robert, but I just had to tell somebody. So I rang him the next day and I said, you've been offered a knighthood. And he said, oh, good.
Marvelous.
Just oh, good. And I said, and another thing, Robert, like we'd been together 22 years and he'd asked me to marry him, but I'd been divorced and I didn't want to go through that again. Anyway, I owned the flat as well. And so I said, so tomorrow, whether it's a rabbi, an archbishop, a priest, or whatever, I shall be by your bedside and we are getting married. And he said, gotcha.
Okay.
I was going to be a lady.
Yeah.
So Charlie Boy said to me, we were at St. James's, where we had a house there, and we were there. And he said to me on the steps when we were leaving, Charles says, Pat, I said, yeah. He said, how do you like being a lady? I said, it's a gas, sir.
Nice.
And somebody said to me, oh, you'll be able to get a table at the Ivy or anywhere with that. I said, I could get a table at the Ivy being Pat Quinn.
Yeah. I'm sure you still could. And before it was the Ivy.
I didn't need to be a bloody lady.
No.
And I don't know why I bothered, because I can't be bothered being a lady, really.
Oh, I think it's
Do you think
something.
It's okay?
I think it's cool.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I love it when they call me lady. I know it's better when they call me Lady Pat Quinn. She's better.
She's good.
Yeah. Lady Stevens is somebody else.
Oh. So I still think it's good.
Thanks.
And so, lady, growing up in Belfast, that was beyond your wildest, beyond.
Yeah, but I've never even thought about it.
Didn't think of lady, didn't think of Robert, didn't think of anybody. Or did you?
No. I only wanted to act. I wasn't interested in marriage. I never wanted a wedding. I didn't want the white dress and a thingy. I was never interested in those things. I just wanted to be an actress. That's all I wanted. I didn't want husbands, families, children.
And you didn't want pets either?
Well, sadly, no. But that's not my fault. I just didn't take to pets.
But didn't your dad keep a greyhound?
No, he raced them.
Yeah, to race.
Yeah. My father was a bookie in Belfast, and it was great because he'd take Jim, my brother, and I to the races, 10 to 1 the field, Daddy up there,
Yeah.
bookmaking.
Yeah.
We used to love his bag. This bag, the bookmaker's bag, used to come home, full of big white £5 notes.
Wow.
And also Scottish £500 notes. Only Scotland had those.
I didn't know anyone had those.
Oh, Scotland did, in the bag.
£500.
So we were given the change, my brother and I, out of the big black bag. We loved that bag. And then that used to go into the post office for savings. And then when they got a bit broke, they took it out. But no, I see what you mean. No, I never got friendly with the greyhounds. No.
Didn't I read you had a donkey?
Oh, yeah. And I forgot about that. That's the one thing I was good about. So Daddy, we were at the seaside in Port Stewart in Northern Ireland, very beautiful. And Daddy bought Jim and Pat a donkey. So we didn't have to go to the seaside and hire a donkey. We had our own donkey. Anyway,
Nice.
and the Rose, the maid, poor girl, had to bring the bloody donkey down to the beach every day. That was her job.
Her job to bring the donkey. Wow.
I didn't call the donkey Neddy. The donkey was Neddy, but I called her Black Beauty.
Because she was a black beauty.
No, because she had to be my horse.
So she was black?
I was pretentious. No, she wasn't.
Oh, she wasn't even black.
She was a bloody donkey.
So that's you, no cats whatsoever?
No, there was a cat, but she was wild.
Oh.
And occasionally she came in, occasionally. But I do remember as a young girl, Cat sat on the arm of my chair, and I just automatically, without a thought in my head, I just went. I didn't do that. So I don't think I took to cats particularly. I mean, my hairdresser has a cat, and everyone goes, "Oh, where's your cat, Fionn? Oh, we'd love to see the cat." Pat doesn't want to see the cat or doesn't stroke the cat. And it's not anything to do with anything. I just never...
Don't ever relate.
Never related to
Can't
cat.
connect.
No. Never.
Whereas Roger is me, see?
Yeah, I know, but that's the difference. I mean, people are different, but it wasn't anything that ever happened or anything. It just
is.
Is, yeah. No, this person, we were at the King's party. It was so boring. And I've been to wonderful parties of Mr. King, but Buckingham Palace, whatever. And this was, anyway, this was called his Christmas party. And the company was beyond tedious. They were all like charity people. I'm not being rude. I didn't know anybody or...
Don't really like charity people.
I'm telling you, these particular people were boring assholes, all right?
Okay.
And, they had nothing to say or whatever. So it was really tedious hanging around waiting for Mr. King to arrive. And the trouble was he started this party at 5:45. And he and Queen weren't coming till 8. So we'd all hang about. Now, it'd be different if it was like other parties where one met really interesting people and nice and whatever. But this was dull beyond belief. And was in the corner with a very long face. He wasn't having a good time. And I thought, oh, there's... So I went over to say hello. And he was so off. I thought, you little jerk. With me even, like he was saying. So when King arrived, I ran in front of everyone because I couldn't wait to get out of there. And so, there was only one door he was coming through. And suddenly, people go, if he's around. And I pushed in, because I wanted out of there. So I said, "Hi, how are you? Why'd you take so long? Blah, blah, blah." And he's blah, blah. And he said, "I miss Robert so much, Pat." I said, "So do I." And that was it. And I went home. But he sent this wonderful letter when Robert died. And he said, in my opinion, Robert Stevens was the greatest actor in Britain and whatever. So at the moment, I'm applying for a plaque for Robert.
The
And
greatest actor in Britain plaque.
obviously.
Yeah.
And but the point being, I'm going to get in touch with Charlie Boy. And when Robert was ill in hospital, Charlie always went to see him, helicopter on the roof, and nobody knew he was going. You know what I mean? He loved Robert. That's all there was to it. He did. He adored him. And I didn't realize how much till that Christmas when he said about missing him so much and everything. And so what was the word oh, yes, she said, yes, you want the king to expedite the plaque.
Expedite.
And I thought, what does that word mean?
I don't know what it means.
I found out.
Oh, what does it mean, expedite?
To quicken things up.
Oh.
But I thought maybe that's a bit rude, you know. So could you help expedite this? In other words, I said to her, because it's a line from Rocky Horror that I use, and it's to Brad and Janet at the lift, and I say, shift it, to them. Get a move on.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, so I want to get in touch with the king and tell him to shift it. And she said, you mean expedite? I said, oh, do I?
Apparently, expedite and shift it mean the same thing.
Yeah. So it's a bit rude.
I think I prefer shift it.
So do I.
Yeah.
So could you shift it, King?
Yeah.
But it's not that. I just think instead of what all I was going to say was, would you be kind enough to
make it happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help me with this.
Thank you so much for making today happen. Cats and other celebrities.
I am so honoured. Thank you.
Oh, no, you've been marvellous.
Baby, you're lovely. Thank you.
I mean, I can remember from before when you did radio, you filled the room and you still fill it, even with me, who doesn't feel anything. But you fill the room. That's why people love you.
Crikey. Oh, you wouldn't like to write my book, would you?
Sure.
Shit! Did you hear her say that?
I did.
You got that?
Thank you, Pat, for being here on Cats and Other Celebrities. Thank you, audience, for watching. And we'll be back with another.
And thank you.
Oh.
Bless your heart. It was lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Catless Shrew.
Yeah. Shrew's right.